The shop was making sales every day, but Edward still could not pay his bills. That was the question keeping him awake. In the river port town, dawn always came with fog. Boats arrived at the dock, porters shouted across the water, and traders rushed from one stall to another. In the middle of that busy market stood Edward's small shop. From the outside it looked healthy. Customers came in. Goods moved out. Business seemed alive. But inside, Edward was worried. He and his younger brother, Henry, had inherited the shop after their father passed away. They sold cloth, salt, sugar, and kerosene simple goods, the kind people needed every day. Edward worked hard. He opened the shop early, stayed late, and checked the accounts each night. Still, one thing confused him. If business was so active, why was there never enough cash in the box? One morning, an old trader named Mr. Blackwood stopped by. He had spent years doing business in the port town, and people trusted him because he spoke little, but his words stayed in the mind. He looked at the shelves. Edward, a shop can grow busier and still become weaker. Edward smiled politely. But customers keep coming, sir. Blackwood shook his head. Customers are not the same as cash in hand. Edward heard the words, but he did not fully understand them. He thought the answer was simple. Buy more goods, sell more goods, and the problem would disappear. So he borrowed money and placed a bigger order. At first it worked. The shop became crowded. Sales increased. Edward felt proud. He thought he was finally becoming a successful businessman. Then the river rose. Boats came late. Some goods arrived too slowly. A few items spoiled. Many customers bought on credit, promising to pay later. On paper, the shop still showed profit, but the money in the cash box kept shrinking. Then the rent became due. Wages had to be paid. The moneylender was waiting. Edward finally understood what had gone wrong. That night, Henry sat with the account book and said, "You counted profit, brother, but you forgot cash flow." Edward said nothing. Henry continued, "Profit is a number on paper. Cash is what keeps a shop alive. Rent, wages, and debt do not wait for tomorrow." That was the lesson Edward needed. The next day, they made new rules. They would keep part of every day's sales aside. They would reduce credit sales. They would cut unnecessary spending. Henry placed a small wooden box at the back of the shop. That box became their rainy day fund. A few weeks later, the market turned difficult again. Many shopkeepers struggled to repay debts. Some sold their goods cheaply just to survive. But Edward and Henry were ready. They had enough cash to pay rent, pay workers, and buy fresh stock. Edward understood something important then. Business was not only about making more sales. Business was about managing money in a way that the shop could survive bad days too. When Mr. Blackwood returned, he looked at Edward and smiled. "Now, do you understand?" Edward nodded. "Yes, profit is good, but cash in hand is better, because profit may arrive late while expenses come knocking on time." Blackwood gave a small nod. "That is the real lesson of business." From that day on, Edward and Henry did not only think about growth. They thought about risk, timing, and reserves. Slowly, their shop became steady. It did not become rich overnight, but it survived. And sometimes survival is the greatest success of all. To get more, like, share, and subscribe.